So saya moderator hari ni. Saya moderator hari ni. So saya akan jaga ni. Berapa?
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Very young faces.
Thank you very much, reporters.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Hello, everyone. I would like to welcome all of you to What Say Youth Town Hall. So, as you know, this is a town hall where it's supposed to be the two-way communication, engagement, where we want to hear not only from the speaker's side, but also from your side. You should share your views, your thoughts, your ideas, and everything. And you can see today we try to close the generational gap. We invite two veterans in our Malaysian political scene. I don't think I need to introduce them because most of you know them, and most of you probably came here because you know them. One is the former Prime Minister of Malaysia, and Dr. Mahathir. And the other one is the AP Parliamentary Leader, Lim Kit Siang. Okay, so I'm going to be the moderator for today. I know when you saw conversations, it's supposed to be like, hey, it's supposed to be free flow, right? Like you have a conversation with your friend. But, well, that only works if you are in a small group. Now we have, I think, around 200 people in this hall. Give you all a round of applause. 200 people in this hall. And so, therefore, I think we need to lay some ground rules. So I hope everyone listen carefully. So rule number 1, each person who wants to speak, please approach the mic and speak using the mic. Don't scream, because you only get sore throat and you look terrible in the camera. And rule number 2, you have 1 minute, because we hope everyone can have the same opportunity. Because you speak too long, the guy behind you might get very angry. Okay, rule number 3, and please cut all the lengthy introduction, like wishing everyone Selamat Hari Raya, Merry Christmas, or whatsoever, or telling your childhood story. That might be okay. So, but just go straight to the point, please. All right. And rule number 4, the most important one, smile. Yeah, that's all. Okay, so that's 4 rules. And in case you don't know, toilet is right next to the stage, on the left and on the right of the stage. All right, so, okay, so are you ready, Tun? Saudara Lim Kit Siang? Okay, so, sorry, I know looking at our age, it's kind of inappropriate for me to call him Saudara, but yeah, we are in the same party and we always call each other Saudara. I don't call him Grandpa or whatever. So, all right, let me have my privilege as the moderator to start the ball rolling so I can have the first questions. Well, that's the privilege of moderator. Maybe we can start with, I want to know, maybe from Tun first. So, what is your dream when you were young? Like these people in the hall today, all of them young, look young and fresh. When you were like them, what is your dream of Malaysia? What do you hope to see? So maybe let Tun share with us first.
Well, when I was young, I didn't dream very much. I thought that like all my friends, I'm fated to be in the government as a clerk. That's all. No more dream.
Okay, that's so those who don't dream, so you don't feel bad about yourself, right? Well, we all being told that you must dream something, right? So here you are. Dr. Mahathir said he never dreamed, and look where he is. So they're not bad, right? So Saudara Lim Kit Siang, because I think recently you came about the idea of Malaysian dream, but whether you dreamed before when you were young, or only when you start to get old and you dream, or how is it? Okay, you can share mine. That look much sweet. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Andre. Well, Tun and I, we belong to the 5% of the population facing 95% of the rest of the population. Those who are about 75 should be 5% of the population. So it's 5% facing the 95% who are the future of the country. And when I was young, when I decided to take the plunge into politics, it's not because you want to be MPs or hoping to form a government. It is the furthest from our mind. But because we believed that this is our country, we can do something about it, and we must do something about it. And we want to make our part, play our role to make our country a better place. And that constitutes the dream, the Malaysian dream, which I think is inherent in all of us.
All right, thank you. Okay, so I think I had my privilege. I addressed my questions. So now I think I let the floor. If anyone who wants to say something, who have a question, can just go straight to the mic. Anyone? You can just go straight to the mic now. Yes, just go straight to the mic. Don't need to raise your hand. It's okay, I'm not a teacher here.
Hi, good evening. I won't take so long. My name is Jan. I'm 30 years old, and sorry, I need to relax because I really wanted to say something very important to Tun Mahathir, because I understand and I'm aware that a lot of people, even from before I was born, did not agree with the things that you did. But I understand why you did the things that you did, and for that I want to say thank you. And thank you for pulling through all the hardship. Thank you for doing everything for us. Even though actually Malaysia, even then and now, is such a difficult country to rule, but you managed to pull through it all, and even at your age, you are still coming to events, and people younger than you complain tired, this, that. You're still pulling through for this country. So I really respect that. And also, I'm actually a graduate from Asia Europe Institute, which was actually your doing. It was your idea to start the thing. So I just really wanted to come and say thank you. And finally, I get to say it. So thank you very much, Dr. Mahathir.
Okay, thank you very much for your sharing. Anyone else? Well, yes, okay, all right. Yes, please. Okay. All right, okay. Suggestion from Tun, one at a time. I cannot reject it, right? Okay, so one at a time. So we let the speaker respond first, then we go to the next questions. All right. Okay.
Well, I understand why a lot of people did not agree with what I did, but that is the man who was responsible for it. He never liked me. He said nasty things about me. But then if you are in the opposition and you want to defeat the party in the government, you cannot say nice things about them. You must find faults with them. And so he was finding faults with me for a long time. Now it is very difficult for him to revise his views about me. But in politics, I used to demonize him, and he used to demonize me. I demonized him so much that today lots of people say, hey, why are you being friendly with that demon? And I have a tough time trying to get Malaysia especially to accept him as my partner. But then life is like that. One day you fight, the other day you make peace, and then you fight again if you're still alive. So the reason why a lot of people disagree with me is because if you are in politics, the opposition, the people who are opposed to you, will always demonize you. So a lot of people believe what is said by the opposition, and so a lot of people disagree with me. But now I find that the very people who disagreed with me now agrees with me. I don't know why. Thank you.
Yeah, you might say a few words. I still remember in July 1981, the K. Das, the Far Eastern Economic Review correspondent, rang me up when Tun became Prime Minister, July 1981, and asked, what comments I had. So I said that, Mahathir at the time was not Tun. Mahathir had a mind of his own. He's capable of great good, and he's capable of great bad. It all depends, time will tell, the great good and the great bad, and as events develop, that was what he has done, the great good, of course I supported. What he has done, the great bad, it's other things that I try to bring about. And therefore we are here for the future, not for the past. The past is gone and cannot be undone, but it can be a lesson for us. But you must think of the future. The future is something which 95% of you that you represent, the coming years, the coming decades, and for me and Tun, in the last quarter of a century, well, I don't think we have many years left, but we still want the best for the country.
All right, thank you. So I see a few guys there. Oh yeah, sure. Yes, sure.
So good evening, to Dr. Mahathir and Sir Lim Kit Siang. My name is Alpheus, and I'll kick off this session with two questions. So my first question is, leadership and position of power should not be a trait of inheritance. So is Malaysia at risk of nepotism, and if not, what countermeasures are in place? My second question is, racial fear is always picked on, but fear is the psychology of the unknown. So since vernacular schools create walled gardens, are you for or against vernacular schools? Because I am actually against vernacular schools, so I would like to hear the opinions of you both. Thanks.
Well, I always believe that, Acton has a very famous saying that power tends to corrupt and absolute power tends to corrupt absolutely. So I think we are all human beings, we have our frailties, and it's important that there should be institutional checks and balances. And I think that's what it boils down to, the checks and balances. And I think in the Citizens' Declaration, we make a very special point that we must restore the institutional independence and integrity, because checks and balances have been undermined. And I think if there is checks and balances, then I think the question of nepotism, of dynastic rules will not arise. So I don't think there's question of, I don't think anybody in Malaysia wants to see any dynastic regimes. It must be to the best and the brightest. And with regard to the vernacular schools, I believe that it is not one fact we must realize and accept is the diversity, the pluralism of Malaysia. We are a multiracial, multilingual, multicultural society, a multi-religious society, and it is in fact our strength, our asset. It's not our weakness, and you must be able to leverage on these strengths. So those who go to vernacular schools, Chinese schools and Tamil schools, they are not trained, educated to be anti-Malaysia, to be disloyal, to become tools of foreign powers. It is a question of the syllabus, it's a question of the content, and they are all trained to respect the constitution, they should be, and the Rukun Negara. And I think it is not so much the single stream or education which will decide whether we are united or not. We have other countries, monolingual countries, which are very divided, and I think there should be a lesson for us.
Well, I don't think anybody likes to see somebody in a position of a leader passing on the leadership position to his sons and his grandson and the like. That was why there was a French Revolution, and during that revolution the whole purpose was to prevent a system where son succeeds father. And because they tend to become very inbred, and they become very, very open to corruption. That is why when we have the Republican idea, then the system of monarchy was abolished. But even republics need to have a leader. Now, what you have to do is to prevent the leader from being succeeded by his own family or his son or grandson. That can be achieved if the leader is not too powerful. But when a leader stays a long time, his tendency is to keep the leadership to his family, to get his family to be, his son to be his successor, his grandson to be the successor of his son, and so on. Now that will lead to absolute power. And as you know, absolute power leads to absolute corruption. So in order to avoid that and yet to retain the kind of monarchy that we have been used to, we copied the British by having a constitutional monarch. The son can succeed the father, but there will be no power. The monarch is no longer an executive monarch. The executive position is given to a chosen prime minister. Now, even if you choose the prime minister, if he stays too long, he may establish a kind of dynasty. So to avoid that, we have elections, etc. But even then, there is still that tendency to push forward his own children. And we see this in many countries. Currently, Mr. Mugabe of Zimbabwe is being pushed out because he wanted to have his wife to succeed him. So basically, the system of nepotism is bad for any leader. So we have rejected that system. And in order to maintain my reputation for not being addicted to nepotism, I prevented my son from joining politics. So he has to be sacrificed so that I get a good reputation. But after I stepped down, I thought that I can no longer do that, make him sacrifice, because I want to have a good reputation. Now my reputation doesn't count anymore. So now he is free to do what he likes. If people like him, they will choose him. If they don't like him, I have no way of influence his choice. So generally speaking, nepotism is bad. On the other hand, with regard to racial fear and the vernacular school, well, at the time when we were striving for independence, we found that the people in this country are of different races, and each one wants to retain his identity. We could have fought some battles and tried to commit genocide and get rid of the people whom we don't like because they refuse to be assimilated. In many countries, in African countries, for example, they chased the Indians out. Myanmar did the same. All the Indians used to control the businesses in Myanmar. So upon independence, Myanmar got rid of the Indians. But in the case of Malaysia, we decided that we need each other. And therefore, even if we have to give up on the question of assimilation, we have to do so in order to retain a kind of unity that will bring about peace in this country. It is because of this need for peace in this country that we decided not on assimilation, but on a kind of integration, maybe through common language and all that. But it is because each race wants to retain its identity. That today in Malaysia we have 3 different sets of schools, national schools, Chinese schools and Indian school. Most people say this is an explosive combination, but the leaders of this country have been smart enough to accept what has to be done and to forget about what cannot be done, and to live together in peace and harmony. Really, many people remark to me that it's strange that even in single ethnic country, differences in religious perception is enough to result in wars or civil wars in the country. But in Malaysia, despite the fact of many differences, not only racial, language, culture, value system, and also economic achievement, despite the differences, we have decided that it's far better to have peace and live together than to fight and sustain our own identification in a country that cannot help but be multiracial. Thank you.
Dr. Mahathir, I have one question. How did the position of the Prime Minister today in Malaysia become so powerful? He controls the police, the judges, anti-corruption agency, even the parliament speakers. People always tell me that, oh, it's because of Mahathir. Last time, he set the foundation for this already. So I want to know specifically, what do you do? What changes do you make to the system that today the Prime Minister is like untouchable? You know, he's so powerful. You can't bring him down, even though he's done such a huge crime. So what do you do into the system, and what exactly do we need to change if you guys go into power to fix this problem, limit the power of the Prime Minister?
Thank you. Yes, people like to say that it is you. You instituted this system, and therefore there is corruption, there is kleptocracy, corruption and all kinds of things. It's because of you. But if it is because of me, why is it that during my time there was no such movements among the people to get rid of the government? Yes, there were opposition parties, but opposition parties normally lose. And the government party was able to win every election. In my case, 5 elections, each one I had 2/3 majority.
Sorry, I'm not blaming you. No. I just want to understand.
I'm not saying that.
It's okay. Don't feel bad. That's okay. He understands.
Don't feel bad.
I want to understand the specific actions you took.
Yeah.
What do you change in the system? I don't want to blame you. I want to see you change this act here, this legislation here. Yeah. I want to know what exactly you changed that makes the position of Prime Minister today so powerful.
All right, be patient, young man. Okay, it's okay. Let the mother speak.
You don't have to be defensive, Dr. Mahathir. I just want to understand the situation.
No,
all right,
I just want to show that it's not the system, it is the person. If the person is corrupt, the system becomes corrupted. You see, the difference between previous governments, not only me, Tunku Abdurrahman, Tun Razak, Tun Hussein and all that, the previous government did not believe that cash is king. They believe in serving the people, and when they serve the people, they expect the people to support them. And that was why the people continued to support them. But of course there are others who form the opposition, they will not support. But majority supported. That is why at every election they managed to win. But this man believes cash is king. You don't have to be popular, you just give money to people. Give bream, give all kinds of things. Just corrupt the people, and they will support you. And he has bought into the system. He cannot have power unless he is supported by the police. Now he has some hold over the police. He has some hold over the AG. Even when he has committed a crime, the AG is able to read the report and say, oh, there is no crime. Because all of them have one way or another been bribed. Either bribed with money or bribed with position, appointments, and some returns that are not quite legal. So that's the difference between then and now. The system is the same, but it's the person which has caused the system to fail to work.
So how can we create a system where cash is not king? How?
No, the system is not wrong. Remove the man.
Yeah, so if we replace him with another person, that guy can be corrupted too. Because as long as he has cash, he can pay everybody. So how can we create a system where cash, doesn't matter how much money you have, you can't buy people? How do we create that system? Yeah. Because it doesn't matter who replaces him, he will get corrupted in the end. If he has cash, right, he can buy police, buy everyone. So what changes do we need to make to the system?
No, this man is unusual. Have you ever heard of a prime minister who can steal billions of dollars? Not small amount. I can imagine a corrupt prime minister stealing maybe 100 million. But this man stole billions. So a man like that is something unusual. But the ordinary ones that you choose, they use the same system, but there was no attempt like there is now to overthrow this government. So you have to accept the fact that it is not the system. You keep on changing the system. For example, there was a monarchy. Oh, we don't want a monarchy, we want a democracy. The people decide. But even when the people decide, you see how many countries with a democratic system, again failing, again having corrupt governments.
But it doesn't really answer my question of...
all right, maybe if you want to respond something.
Say Lim Kit Siang take over, for example, if he has lots of money, he can be the next Najib. He can just pay the police and pay the AG as well. So what's to stop the next person from doing that? We can get rid of Najib, but the next person come in can just do the same thing. That's my question. How do we prevent the next prime minister from using cash to corrupt the system?
Okay, can you please sit? Maybe other people can have other questions too. You can repeat again.
I really want to understand how we can make a change to this.
Never mind, you can ask again after some other people ask. So we give everyone an opportunity.
You are going after the wrong horse. It is not the system. There is no perfect system in this world. But there are a lot of imperfect people. It's up to you who you choose as a leader. And there are so many democratic countries which use the same system as we do, and yet the Prime Minister did not steal billions of dollars.
If I may come in a little bit, how we can save the system. And then the only way is for Malaysia to become a normal democracy. Malaysia is not a normal democracy. You see in the West, in the US, even in Asia, in Taiwan, in South Korea, in India, and even in Indonesia, where the people can change governments through the ballot box. Whereas in Malaysia, there is a threat that if there's a change of government through the ballot box, there's going to be disaster, there's going to be a possibility of emergency, because, well, the traitors are trying to topple the government. Only today, I think the Malaysian Patriots Association, comprising former servicemen, they came out with a statement saying that the position taken by the government that the ex-servicemen must vote for the ruling government, ruling party, or they are virtually regarded as traitors, virtually regarded as subversives, is something which is inimical to the very basis of a democratic system. So you don't, you accept the verdict of the people, and to change the government. You don't regard democratic opponents as traitors, as enemies of the country. They want to change the government. And that's something that we had to go through. The coming elections is going to be a test. Whether we can go through or not is still to be seen. But if the young people are prepared to stand up and ensure that Malaysia becomes a normal democracy, and that's an important milestone for Malaysia in our journey to become a democratic country, then I think you will see a situation where cash cannot be king. If we can restore the system of checks and balances so that the national institutions cannot be subverted by one person, then of course cash cannot be king. You cannot corruption, we cannot have kleptocracy, we cannot become a country which is now even derided by the African countries.
All right, maybe I try to help rephrase the question or something. Pakatan Harapan promised about institutional reform, which means when you say institutional reform, which means there's something that you need to make it better. So what do you want to make it better when you all come into power? So probably he wants to know. So what are the institutional reforms that are promised?
Well, within the democratic system, it is accepted that there should be a division of power. The legislators cannot exercise power over the implementers or the executives, and the executives cannot interfere with the judiciary. So these three are three separate centers of power. But what we see today is that somehow the leader of the legislative portion have managed to subvert the executive and maybe also the judiciary. That's why the system doesn't work. For us, what we want to do is to make sure that there will be separation of powers between the legislative, the executive, and the judiciary. Each will be very independent. And what will happen, of course, is that the appointment of certain senior officers and judges should not be on the recommendation of the Prime Minister. Currently, what happens is that if a judge is to be appointed, or if a judge is to be elevated to the position of Chief Justice, it is the Prime Minister who submits a name to the King, and the King approves. Strictly speaking, the King can reject, but it never happens. Whenever the Prime Minister submits the name, then the King approves. And the man who gains this position feel obliged to the Prime Minister. In the system that we suggest, it will not be the Prime Minister who will submit the name to the King. It will be Parliament or some other body which will nominate a person to become the Chief Judge or the judge or the senior official. That way, these people do not feel obligated to the Prime Minister. Currently, the Prime Minister can literally remove a senior official. You know what happened to the AG. The AG was removed supposedly because he was ill, but he wasn't. If a person is to be retired because of illness, there must be a medical board, and the medical board must give a certificate saying that this man is no longer capable of working. Then only the Prime Minister can submit the name to the King. But in this case, the Prime Minister did not rely on any medical board. Just one morning, he goes to the King and he tells the King, this man is sick, he must be retired, I want another AG. And the King signed. No, well, the King shouldn't, but the fact is that the King did not study the case properly perhaps, and he was maybe obligated also to the Prime Minister, and he appointed a new AG who is chosen by the Prime Minister and is obliged to the Prime Minister. the system that we propose will be to remove the power of the Prime Minister to name officers in the government. That should go before before Parliament. In the US, for example, every nominee for the posts in the government will be subjected to questioning by the opposition and also by the government members of Congress. If they approve, then only the person will be appointed. So that is a kind of revision that we think we can institute in this country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah, as Tun has mentioned, the problem is the man and the system. We have to repair the democratic system whereby there can no more be a situation where cash is king. So we don't want to ensure that we can topple Najib, but there cannot be a second Najib. There cannot be a second Najib because the institution is such, has been strengthened. The doctrine of separation of powers is restored. At present, in Parliament, we cannot even ask questions or debate on the one MDB scandal, although it is hugging international headlines every other day. It is the subject of the largest kleptocratic litigation in the United States. In South Korea, President with lesser corruption offenses has been removed. Can we do the same thing in Malaysia? So that is the strength of the institution, and that's why it is important that we must repair the institution, and that's where the coming election is going to be a very important one. That's where the young people must come forward to save the country and to save the system.
I saw somebody, that guy in grey first. He's been standing there, right? And after that, don't worry. Let him have it first. Okay. Or you want to trade? Okay,
I'm Tim. Okay, nice to meet you both. Just want to answer his question quickly. I said, can you hear me? Yeah, sorry. Okay, just want to answer his question. Towards like how do we end corruption? I think how we end corruption is by us. It's ourselves. It starts with us. If anyone can go up.
When you speak, the microphone in front of you and your mouth near the microphone.
Sorry, my bad. Okay, I think it starts with us, who all of us are youngsters, we should step up, join the politics or whatever it is, to do whatever we can in our part to bring unity. I think the reason why we cannot bring him down is because of too much corruption. Not only that, because the people under him as well. The system itself is good, but it's the people, it's the greed of the people that makes it bad. So if you have people who step up for truth and justice, I think regardless how it is, who will be a prime minister, we can lead it properly. As long as we have truth and justice, and the media as well, we need more truth in the media. We are seeing cyber troopers going around making all the hateful comments, racism comments to separate us. And I think this is a time that we start to stop judging one another and what other people have done, whether it's Dr. Mahathir, what they have done in the past, whereas I think we should stop judging and say where it's now time to heal our country and what are the steps to be done. Instead of coming here to know, hey, you have done this, why not we come out with a solution and we step up now and we do it together, because the nation, we Malaysians are very special because we are, like he said, we are a multi-faith country, multi-racial country, and we could be one of the symbols of peace to the world. That's how powerful we are and how great Malaysia is. Though it's a small country, but we can bring positivity to the world as long as we step up together. When I first came in and I just was sitting there, we are not even talking to each other. We're just like, okay, I sit here, I play with my phone, okay, then there we just like the Malays sitting here, the Indians sitting here, the Chinese sitting here. I think these things has been happening a lot, not only here, in everywhere I go as well. These are the things that are happening. But if we start to take the initiative to do our own part, to stop this racism, to stop judging people, and start forgiving them, and start to heal our country, because everybody makes mistakes. Everyone is imperfect. Instead of pointing fingers and blaming each other, why not you look at yourself, the man in the mirror? Thank you so much.
All right, you want to respond? Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. So next.
Comment.
Hello. So my name is Andre. Jadi saya ada dua soalan. Ni ditujukan kepada Tun, dan saya berharap Tun akan menjawab dengan sepenuh ikhlasnya. Dua-dua soal ni mengenai ISA. Okey. Pertama, mengapakah Tun membenarkan berlakunya operasi lalang pada tahun 1987? Dan kedua, jika Tun boleh balik kepada zaman itu, apakah Tun akan melakukan berbeza selepas menampak reaksi-reaksi semua keluarga yang dipenjarakan kerana ISA ini? Thank you.
Saya fikir dalam blog terdapat information berkenaan dengan jumlah people detained under ISA di zaman Tunku Abdul Rahman, di zaman Tun Razak, di zaman Tun Husin dan di zaman saya. Masa Tunku Abdul Rahman lebih 2,000 orang ditahan bawah ISA. Di masa Tunku Abdul Rahman jadi Perdana Menteri selama 13 tahun. Tun Razak jadi Perdana Menteri selama 6 tahun. Dalam masa itu 2,000 lebih ditahan. Tun Husin jadi Perdana Menteri 5 tahun. 4,000 orang ditahan. Saya jadi Perdana Menteri 22 tahun. Cuma 1,200 orang saja yang ditahan. Tetapi yang saya heran, tak ada siapa marah kepada Tun Husin, tak ada siapa marah kepada Tun Razak dan Tunku. Sebaliknya, saya yang masukkan dalam ISA bilangan yang terkecil mungkin dalam jangka masa 22 tahun menjadi sasaran. Ini saya kurang faham, kerana apa yang saya lakukan ialah apa yang dilakukan oleh Tunku Abdul Rahman, Tun Razak dan Tun Husin. Kenapa mereka tidak dijadikan sasaran? Bahkan mereka lebih bengis daripada saya. Tetapi soal ops lalang ni selalu dibangkitkan. Dalam sistem kerajaan, security jadi tanggungjawab pihak polis. Kalau kita kata kepada polis, awak tidak boleh buat itu, tidak boleh buat ini, mereka akan berasa bahawa kita sudah ambil alih tugas mereka. Saya kena dengar security advisor saya, dan security advisor saya telah buat video mengaku bahawa dia yang buat keputusan. Saya tak boleh bantah semua keputusan. Saya masih ingat di waktu tindakan nak diambil terhadap Datuk Seri Anwar, saya bagi tahu kepada polis, jangan guna gari, jangan guna mas bila tangkap. Tetapi SOP, Standard Operation Procedure, bagi polis ialah mereka mesti pecah pintu, bawa senjata repeating, what do you call it, AK, not AK, but the other kind of rapid fire rifle. Semuanya dibuat mengikut Standard Operating Procedure Polis. Bahawa saya larang tak bagi guna gari, itu tak mengapa. Mereka akan jalan cara mereka. Dan yang dapat yang dikena kritik ialah saya. Saya mengaku di waktu itu kita menghadapi kemungkinan rusuhan antara kaum. That is a very serious matter. And the police says, kalau kita tak ambil tindakan against all parties, not only opposition, but even from UMNO people and Ibrahim Ali included, all of them were arrested because they tended to create a very violent situation in the country. But if you want to blame me for this, you can blame. It has happened. And in the future, if I am told that if I don't arrest these people, they will create problems for this country, there will be violence, there will be rioting, killing and all that, I would be not doing my duty if I don't arrest them. Under the same situation, I would have to arrest them. Today, this man has even a worse law to replace ISA, but nobody complains. Thank you.
All right. Yes, we have, wow, a huge line. Before that, from the beginning, I think a lot of those who ask questions, those who give comments are guys. So girls, please show your girls' power.